Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of our mini podcast, OMGame Boy. I'm, of course, Sports Dan.
And I'm, of course, the righty who doesn't give up a lot of walks, Tendo.
There you go. This is our big sports episode. We would never, it was the first episode I ever said we ever did of this. I said, Nick, I'm never going to do an episode about sports. And you said, who are you?
And I said,
get out
sports.
of my house. Yeah. Okay. So, Nick, when I say the number 38, what athlete do you think of?
Honestly, like someone like Marty Murray, who's like a flyer from the 90s. Actually, he might have been number 39. No one even knows who he is.
Do you think, I was going to say, do you think anyone knows that?
No, no one even knows.
Okay. Like, so when I say 38 in baseball, who do you think of?
I know this episode, so I know where you're going. 38 Studios is where I go.
Well, also,
isn't that weird?
It is also
he number 38. Is that why?
That's why I'm saying
oh,
you're more into sports than me. How did you not know that was his number?
Because I don't know his number.
Now okay, we're talking about the big-headed freak known as Curt Schilling.
I'm the big-headed freak.
Yeah, he's got a huge head.
He's got a pretty big head. Yeah.
So we're talking about Curt Schilling. All I know is that he was a pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. I think he played for other teams.
He did.
Okay, what other teams?
Red Sox. I don't know.
There you go. But I think his number was 38 his entire career. A couple years before he decided to retire, he took all of his money, literally all. I think it was literally his.
Literally all his money from
literally baseball. All of his money. He put it into creating a video game company.
How much did he spend? 50 million of his own to start the
company. Was it 50? I thought it was way more. But anyway, he
5 to 10.
He did it before.
The total came to 75 million.
So he did it before he retired. So by the time he retired, like the company was already making stuff. So they started to make a game and they wanted to give people jobs. So the whole thing was they actually released a game, but they moved to Rhode Island. Like he moved his company to Rhode Island. The company was called, what'd you say, 38 Studios?
38 Studios.
So named after his jersey. He moved it to Rhode Island and then it just fucking exploded and melted from there. Like he screwed over Rhode Island. He said Rhode Island screwed them. He didn't pay his employees. The game came out. Nobody bought it. Like they up until like 2 years ago, they wound up finally giving people the money back that they owed them, the employees.
Yeah, he did a whole what they weren't getting paid for 2 weeks, and then a few weeks later, he informed them via email they no longer had the job, and then his company went bankrupt.
Yeah, so this was 2012, and I think the game was called Kingdom of, what did I say it was?
Kingdom of
So it's called Kingdoms of
Amalur
Reckoning, and it's an action role-playing game. So it's like a fantasy game. Like he was really into that shit. He put all his money behind it. And what he did was he borrowed money. He took a loan out from Rhode Island and he was just spending the money elsewhere and he wasn't paying his employees and they went bankrupt. And it became like a whole big ordeal and a big court case and they had to settle. So I always found that really interesting because he's a big scumbag.
He is. And what's crazy is this happened 3 or 4 years ago because this happened in 2012.
Yeah,
so this all happened in 2012. You probably heard it in the news. He's a big scumbag. He used to be a bit borderline Hall of Fame pitcher. And he started calling in radio stations, I want to say 3 or 4 years ago. And you were not allowed to ask him about all that stuff. But like you could sort of
wait, for real?
Yeah. So he would call just to talk sports. Like he was talking baseball. And I remember he was on a farm and he had his own chickens. And he would like talk about his dogs, his farm, his animals and stuff like that. And the whole time I'm listening, I'm like, oh my God, this dude bankrupt like the entire state of, and I couldn't remember the state. I just know part of the story. Yeah. And it's Rhode Island. And I guess, he still has enough money to have his own farm, his own house.
Well, that's what I was curious because he was like, he put his whole fortune into this. And I was like, okay, well, how do you still have money to do anything else? Like, how are you not giving your employees money? And so the crazy thing is, I guess another company owns the game because they re-released the game like 2 years ago.
Oh, did they?
Like a remake. And I was like, I downloaded it, didn't play it because I'm like, fuck this podcast. Like I hate doing homework for this podcast. But I downloaded it and I'm like, does he get money from this?
He probably won't get money from this because of the declaring bankruptcy thing.
Okay. So
you don't get anything for it.
Our whole gist is, he's a scumbag. He screwed people over. It became a big lawsuit. So we're thinking of like other gaming lawsuits that have kind of like, ran wild in the industry. Have you ever been sued, Nick?
No, I've never been sued. I'm trying to think if our company did. My parents'
Your
company.
company? You own a company? Like what, the Famicom?
Yep. That's
You think, hold on, you think you own half what, the Famicom?
Yeah.
If somebody asked you on the street, hey, do you have a podcast? Would you admit you have a podcast?
No.
If somebody put a gun to your family's head, like they had numerous guns, and somebody had a sword,
just one. Okay. Just sure.
like somebody had a sword to your dog's throat, and they said,
Yeah.
do you have a podcast? Like they're asking, well, no, they're asking your dog if he has a podcast.
Okay. But if then, and then they turn to me and they still have the sword and the gun,
Yeah.
I'd say this. Wow. Now that you mention it,
Yeah.
I do. Unpanders.
Oh my God.
Yeah, see, that's what I would do.
All right, fair enough. So, well, then I take the mask off, and it's actually
And
me
it's,
with the sword and the gun, and I'm
and I
like,
say,
got
damn
you.
it. And then I'm like, damn it, he did get me.
And then I say I got you, and then I like tip over your family, and they were all cardboard cutouts.
Oh, so you really got me. I didn't notice that they were fake.
And I was like, I killed your family a week ago.
Well, and saved us all some time.
So anyway, we looked up other like lawsuits, because that was the first time I vaguely knew who he was. But that was the first time I remember paying attention to like the industry side of video games, like the serious part of like people
Right,
screwing other people over. I'm like, why is that so interesting? I was like, what's wrong with people? Like, why is the industry like this? So then I realized like over the last like 10 years, this shit happens all the time.
Yeah, it's like constantly going on.
So we looked up other lawsuits, other big like so-and-so versus so-and-so's in the gaming industry.
Yeah.
I think this is a recent one where Epic Games versus Apple, the company.
Yeah, that's yep, that one happens all the time.
Was there like a Fortnite one?
Yeah, there was a Fortnite one, Silicon Knights versus
So
Games.
Epic Games didn't want to put Fortnite in the Apple store. And everyone has an Apple phone, and I think Apple was like, you're corny, you're ugly, put it on.
Yep, that's what he said.
Yeah.
And then there was a lawsuit because they
and it was actually the lawsuit was called Corny v Ugly.
Corny v Ugly. Yep.
That's literally all my exes. Yeah, so I think that was a recent one where, because Epic was like, if we put it in the Apple store, you're going to take like 50% of like our profits or something like that. So I actually think it's still ongoing.
A lot of these are still ongoing.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, litigations in general take too long to solve.
So what about you? Did you find any other ones?
Yeah, the funniest one I saw was Guy from Russia versus Bethesda, and he's unnamed. He's a 28-year-old man, and he's suing Bethesda for Fallout 4 because it's too addicting. He'd gone on a hardcore binge. He played the game for 3 weeks straight. He skipped out on work, skipped out on his friends, and skipped out on his
wife. And he's
wife.
suing Bethesda.
Yes, and he lost all three: his job, his wife, and his, what was the third thing?
And his virginity,
I guess. Work, his friends, and his wife. So his friends left him, his wife left him, and his job left him. He's suing for $500,000 rubles. I don't know. Like, some of these are ridiculous. The other one, you even remember this one: Lindsay Lohan versus Grand Theft Auto.
I do, because wasn't one of the Grand Theft Autos like it was like a lookalike?
It's exactly looks like her, and it like is as a drug problem. It's like a daughter of a famous whatever. Yeah, so.
I wish that honestly, like, I wish I had been sued in my life at some point.
You still could.
What do you think the lawsuit would be? Like, what do you think the first person would be versus what the Famicom? Like, who would complain about us?
Like some of our devout viewers, maybe they come.
So are they suing us because we didn't mention like 9/11 enough, or like podcastphilia? Hey, there we go. We're mentioning both of those things in this episode.
We almost went the whole one without it. Can you believe it?
Podcastphilia v what the Famicom. And so pedophilias are suing us because we made up a term that they don't like.
They don't like that term?
What's that? NAMBLA? Isn't the national
National Association Man Love
NAMBLA v what the Famicom? They're suing us.
That's someone suing us for, I don't know what we would be sued for. There's probably a lot of things.
There's another one. Manchester United versus Sega.
I saw that. What was that one about?
In Football Manager, there's a video game.
And it looks like him? What? Thinks
the Red Devils claim Sega never received. Okay, so the Red Devils are a team in Manchester United, one of the clubs, and the Red Devils claim Sega never received the rights to use the team's name in their product.
Oh, they might.
So they sued. Yeah, I think it's still going on.
But
I thought, how would Sega even be like, oh yeah, it should be fine to let in? Shouldn't all of these places like say like agree to let them?
But maybe there has to be a sign off. Like, there's an end user agreement. You have to click I agree.
Yeah.
every team should get the option to do that. And if they had gotten it, they probably would just clicked, yeah, sure, I don't care. But because they didn't, like they forgot them, they're like, well, let's sue.
There's another one. It just says disappointed fans versus CD Projekt Red.
I saw that. That's for
so CD Projekt Red are the company that made The Witcher and Cyberpunk. Yeah,
I think that one was specifically
so I think
about
when
Cyberpunk.
Yes, so I think when Cyberpunk came out, people sued because was it shit? Is that why?
Glitchy as shit.
Oh, glitchy as shit. So they sued because it wasn't like a finished game. Listen,
right.
This is my opinion. If you're a gamer and you're suing a company,
you're a loser.
What are you doing with your life?
You're a loser.
You're a giant loser.
Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, I do what every normal sane adult does, like score bomb them on Steam or something like that. Like,
yeah, go on Metacritic and like bomb them or
talk them.
Yeah,
bad things. Tell everyone in your little Reddit circle. Let's all give downvote this group or something. I don't know. Do one of those things that you all do. Don't sue them. In fact, I found the first lawsuit in video game history.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know
Pong 2, Magnavox versus Atari, 1972. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Crazy? Tell me the information.
They settled out of court in 1976. Had to do with the popularity of Pong 2. Someone didn't get Atari's whatever. Someone claimed that the co-founder Nolan Bushnell copied Magnavox's version for the second one. I don't know, dude. You read it yourself. I don't read. This isn't what the Readacom.
Oh, this is what the Readacom?
That's what I said. Yeah. I can't read.
What logic is in that name? So would it be WTREADICOM? Is that correct? Yeah. Okay. just wanted to double check. So one of the other another one I found is Sega versus Gearbox. Do you remember there was an Aliens game that came out like 10 years ago? Do you recall this at all?
Nope.
So there was an Aliens game. It was like a first-person shooter where you play like some of the Marines, and it takes place in
and in between. You could do as the alien as well sometimes.
I think that was a different game.
Oh, okay.
So this one was just about the Marines, but they showed the trailer at like a convention or E3 or something, and it looked like amazing. And then the game came out like a month later, and it was like the graphics were like downgraded by like 100. And people that bought it were like, why does it not look like that? So Sega sued them for like not making like the same game that they showed off. And then fans sued them too. Like fans were like, this is literally a completely different product. So like that was all a clusterfuck. Like the game to boot, the game sucked. Nobody played it. You can't find it anywhere. It's not on like any like streaming thing.
That's wild.
People sued and Sega sued because Sega was like, you took all of our funds and budget and you somehow made a shittier game than what you showed off at this thing.
That's wild.
Yeah.
And I guess you can sue for just about anything anymore. Like, isn't that the old joke? Growing up, careful, don't sneeze on them, they'll sue you. Now, like, I guess you really can sue.
Wait, who said that? Who used to see that joke?
It's like an old thing, like from the 90s, dude.
Don't sneeze on them, they'll sue you.
Don't breathe on them, funny.
I guess from like 90s movies, you'll be like, you'll be hearing from my lawyer.
I guess like everyone was suing everyone back then. I don't know. Maybe they still are. Do you know who Jack Thompson is? He's like an attorney who just sues video games for being too violent and causing shootings and stuff like that.
How long has he been doing it?
Since like the 90s, I think.
Jesus Christ.
Sued Grand Theft Auto for, making
So every game that's come out, he's like sued the company?
Yeah, I don't know that he's ever been successful, but he does it.
Hey, it's like, it's basically us. You don't know, we've never been successful in podcasting, but hey, we're going to keep going.
It didn't stop us. Yeah. So I didn't know where we were going with this whole episode. I thought maybe you wanted to talk about Curt Schilling. I kind of
wanted to make no, I definitely didn't want to make a full episode out of this, but I just want to talk about how shitty Curt Schilling was. And I think he's actually shitty now. He like has some hot takes that I'm not going to get in politics, but I think he has some hot takes.
Vaccine dude.
I think so. I think he's like anti, like,
yeah, of course he is.
Not just like regular anti-vaccine. I think he's like super extra.
Yeah. Do you know his strikeout to walk ratio?
I don't know. I don't even know what that means.
First, dude, in all of baseball. How about his strikeouts per 9 innings? Fourth, it's 8.6. His whip, walks, hits, innings pitched. Fourth. Okay, so what's his
ratio? Dude. What's his ratio of paying his employees for making a video game?
10th out of 10.
Okay.
Out of 10,
yeah, no, I just found that always interesting. And I think I mentioned it in like another episode before, but I'm like, oh, he's a scumbag. Oh, let me look up other lawsuits that like people got screwed over and other things. Yeah, because I think they quickly settled out of court. Like it wasn't like everyone just knew of this like blow up of them going bankrupt. But I was like, I don't think any other companies do this. Let me just look up lawsuits because I was like, we don't listen.
I think it's going on all the time behind the scenes, especially because you see like companies that use the same engine as other companies, and like, what if you get an engineer that worked on one and now he works for your company? Like, is he
there was it just dawned on me. There's a video game like you were just saying, like an engine being used. What was it? I don't remember listen, I'm not going to look it up right now because that's not what I do.
That's not
but
what
there
it
was an
is.
original Xbox game that they took like 10 years to make, and they released it. And then they found out that they stole the engine from something
That's
else
awesome.
that the company was supposed to be working on.
Oh,
So after it came out, they lost the lawsuit. So they had to destroy every copy of that game physically.
that's
So
awesome.
like not only did the game bomb like commercially, but they had to destroy
it,
all copies.
the
And I
evidence.
think the case finally settled like a couple years ago because it just showed up on the Xbox Game Pass.
Jesus.
Like you can literally, but it's free because if they charge you money, that means somebody's going to get residuals from it. So the Xbox was just like, we're giving it away for free because it was just a clusterfuck. I don't remember the name of it, but I'm sure if someone's listening, they can think of it.
That's crazy. And no, I didn't know that. But I guess it's always going on with all this stuff like behind the scenes because these are big businesses.
What if I sued you?
You would lose.
I would lose.
Yeah, I got text messages from you.
I dare you to read anything bad I've ever said.
Do we have enough time?
Yeah, we haven't. Listen, we have plenty of time. Try to find one bad thing I've ever said.
The last thing you sent me was, it looks like Ace Ventura and an eagle, and it says, yeah, blow me.
That's not bad.
I'm fiddling with my volumes now.
That's not bad. That could just literally be volumes for a podcast. Listen, I'm uncancelable, so I don't know what you're going to try to do here.
Oh, I didn't get your joke here. Just add an S in front of his name. Oh, Hitman, shit, man.
Yeah. But listen, if anyone's listening, whose side would you be on? If
I found something.
You got a bad one?
Yeah.
Don't read it.
I'm not.
Hey, if you're listening, you got to the end of this episode, whose side would you be on? Which side of the court? Are courts like weddings? Or like if you're on, okay.
One side and then you're on the other. Are you on the bride or the groom?
Okay. So are you on Sega side or Nintendo side? Or are you at the Famadans or Nick
we all know I'd be the PlayStation one.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And you'd be the Xbox one? I don't know. No, because you have
Nintendo. I don't know. But anyway, and then we'd be both called up to as witnesses at the same time. Like, Your Honor,
our text messages.
Your Honor, I'm going to read a text message and a tweet from 2010. They'll be like, why do you still have that? And I'll be like, shut your mouth.
Shut your hole.
It's not important.
And know your mouth.
So I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting idea.
I didn't.
So give me an idea for a future episode right now, live.
Let's do one on rumors. Video game rumors.
Damn it.
Like things that they said, oh, you can, there's a babeality, there's a nakedality. Well,
man, that's a way better topic than this
there
one.
are secret codes in the games, especially like back in like the 90s, like where you could hit a series of
Let's just do an episode about nudalities.
No, we're not. You got in trouble for
and then we draw them.
You got in trouble for knowing what a nudality was.
So two things.
Oh, God. I think you mentioned it.
Well, I mean, this was like ages ago. So if we're talking about rumors and getting in trouble and, lawsuits and stuff.
Yep.
I think it was a while ago. I made a joke about nudalities like ages ago.
To
like
me.
10. What's
on
that?
Twitter?
On Twitter, somewhere. I made a joke about nudalities, which are when you get naked in Mortal Kombat.
Yep. Someone you dated.
Someone I dated got mad at me that I even knew what it was. And I said, this is a thing from the mid-90s.
And it's fake.
And it's fake. And it just dawned on me another thing I got in trouble for.
Oh, no.
I'm the same person I dated.
Yeah.
She believed in flat Earth. And I owned like a globe. When I lived with her, I had like a globe that I bought at like, I don't know, like a Target or something, just for decoration. Sure. So I was setting up the globe, a small globe on like a dresser. And she's told me she didn't want me putting it up because she didn't believe in that. And I said, what do you mean? She's like, I don't believe like the earth is round. So this is a real, I'm not making this up. She told me to throw out the globe or take it down or hide it because it was circular and she believes in flat earth. So in my brain, I'm like, did you just want me to have like a piece of paper there? So she got mad and I got annoyed. So I just threw out the globe. But I remember she told me she didn't believe that it was circular. So she wanted me to take the globe down.
She would have sided with Curt Schilling.
I bet you she's dating Curt Schilling right now.
They just went to IKEA and just bought a bed.
Oh my God. Oh fuck yeah, she used my fucking credit card.
Yeah, Curt Schilling used your credit card.
Fucking Curt Schilling. Him and his, I'm gonna play that game after we record.
All right,
I'll give it a go. All right, folks, thanks for listening to this episode. It was probably way longer than it needed to be.
It is.
Yeah, with a nothing topic.
Yep.
So we'll see you folks later. And I guess this is gonna air in May. So isn't that when baseball starts?
Yeah, sure.
Hey, I'm wearing this.
It's the Phillies are 2 games over 500.
Yo, go Birds!
For like weeks.
Or go Phils.
We got to go. Game over.
All right, game over, folks. See ya.